One, two, three.
Start my morning in the middle of the afternoon. Yesterday's coffee and a little smoke to get me through. Trying to get my day on track. All worth a living, not one back. Till I'm all balled up and pounding at the thought of you. Thought it'd be a best if we went our separate ways. So we cut you loose on a cold November day. And now I'm fighting back the tears, reminiscing on a few good years. And these four walls feel like a coffin done already made. I got the new freedom blues. Either way, it just can't win to lose us. Seems like any path I choose, heartache up ahead, I'm going through it. And it's no fault but my own that I'm stumbling a stone, barely hanging on with these freedom blues. My whistle wail. Sooner or later, you know, buddy, I'ma jump that rail. Well, it can't seem to hit them brakes, and I might even up them stakes. Just told me what you got, fill it up, and let's give it hell, let's give it hell. I got the new freedom blues. Either way, it just can't win to lose us. Seems like any path I choose, heartache up ahead, I'm going through it. And it's no fault but my own that I'm stumbling a stone, barely hanging on with these freedom blues. You out on the street, not giving a damn about me. Don't you know it cut me right down to the bone? I got the new freedom blues. Either way, it just can't win to lose us. Seems like any path I choose, heartache up ahead, I'm going through it. Stumbling a stone, barely hanging on with these freedom blues. I'll say there's no fault but my own that I'm stumbling a stone, barely hanging on with these freedom blues.
Welcome to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa, the mother-daughter travel team and publishers of Big Blend magazines. You just heard New Freedom Blues. It is the title track of Town Mountain's 6th studio album, and it comes out October 5th, 2018. Keep up with them at townmountain.net. And since releasing their debut album, Original Bluegrass and Roots Country, in 2007, Town Mountain have made a name for themselves in the bluegrass and roots circuits, And they've written a lot of music. I mean, 6 albums is quite a bit, I think, Nancy.
That's a lot of road trip music.
I know, and they do a lot of touring. They're on tour. They're touring right now across the country. So we're very excited to have the fiddle player Bobby-Britt join us today. Bobby, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, thank you. I'm doing well. I hope you all are as well.
Yeah, we are. We're doing good. We're enjoying your music. So I know you guys are touring all over, people just all the way through the end of the year. Where are you right now?
So right now, we have a little bit of a interesting situation. I currently live in Boston, Massachusetts, and the rest of the band lives in Asheville, North Carolina. So the past couple of years, actually the past 4 or 5 years, I've been doing a lot of flying. So right now the band's in Asheville, and I'm in Boston, and we actually have a little bit of time off the road as Town Mountain until our next show will be July 12th. We're playing at Smith's Old Bar in Atlanta, and so we'll all meet up in Atlanta for that show and that tour.
Right on. So now you just get back on the road, and everyone, if you go to townmountain.net, you'll see there's a long list of dates. So there's a lot of traveling and listening to New Freedom Blues. I feel like you're giving us a sense of place of America. There's just like geographically, I feel like we're traveling in different areas, but also I feel like it's music for the people, like for us, of what's going on in the world, what's going on in our homes. There's changes going on in the country, and I feel like it's like you wrote music for us that we can understand and get into, and we can all identify with.
Well, I think I speak for everyone in the band when I say that compliment is greatly appreciated, and I think that's collectively for sure what we're going for is trying to an element at the very least of trying to provide a voice for some larger issues. I'm not a principal songwriter in terms of the lyrics. That's primarily Phil Barker, Jesse Langley, and Robert Greer. But which songs in particular had a message that you found inspiring or interesting?
To me, it was really life and debt. I thought that there's a line in there about all the money's in the politicians' hands, and I'm like, I don't think any American, or actually anybody around the world, I mean, because that's a global thing, right? I don't think one person can say that that's not true. That's like a reality.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love that song.
I don't think there's any such thing as a poor politician anywhere.
No.
Somehow they're all rich.
Yeah. Yep.
How did that happen?
I mean, that's politics. The word political, it's like synonymous with trying to position yourself in more and more moving up the food chain of power in order for self-interest financially and like political and financial power, like you're saying, don't seem to be that. They're kind of one and the same. Just because corporations are now such an integral part of the political system, it seems like.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah.
It's exactly. Tell us about the band and meeting. How did you all get together? Because and just kind of give everybody an overview for those who are just now getting introduced to your music, and that's going to be joyous because it's good. Tell everybody who's in the band, their roles in the band, and then how you all connected.
Okay. I will try to keep a long story somewhat succinct. So there's Phil Barker on mandolin and vocals and a lot of the great songwriting. And he is originally from, I believe, Greenville, South Carolina. Makes his home in Asheville with the rest of the band. Robert Greer, originally from Georgia, but makes his home in Asheville, guitar and vocals, and some great songwriting. Witch Trials, he wrote that.
I like
on
that song.
On the album. Yeah. And then Jesse Langley, originally from Old Town, Maine, makes his home in Asheville, plays banjo, writes some great tunes like Life and Debt that are very timely. I think that song is has a timeless theme. It's always sort of been this way, but it seems like more so than ever. And then Zach Smith on bass. He's originally from Boone, North Carolina, and currently living in Asheville. And also our sound man, who we love, Nick Jones. He's not just he's been traveling with us for, I guess, the past couple of years, and having him along, he's kind of like the sixth in a lot of ways, helps us sound our best. So I just wanted to mention him as well. And we all met,
I think it's important. I think it's good sound people. It's like finding a good mechanic. Once you find the really good sound man, hold on to him, or sound woman. But just hold on to them because they're really good. And I think it's really true. And especially when you're traveling and you have different setups every night, to get that sound right. And they know how you play. They know the music, what you need more than anybody could know. So I think it's really important.
Yeah, exactly. And we all met. I would say, long story short, is just the bluegrass and roots music community in North Carolina and really everywhere is relatively a small world. So everyone kind of knows everyone. Once removed, sometimes, but so we all sort of met through the Asheville music scene and then the Chapel Hill music scene, which is where I'm from originally. There's a great kind of, I would call it the house band of Chapel Hill. It's called Big. It's a little hard for me to pronounce, but Big as in B as in basketball, IG, Fat, F-A-T, Gap as in Mind the Gap, so Big Fat Gap. And they have been a band for the past 12 years, and I played with them for a while. Andy Thorin of Leftover Salmon played with them for a while. John Stickley, who's also a veteran of Town Mountain and now has his own project. He was in the group. So just that sense of community, Town Mountain has played with Big Fat Gap. We're all friends. So that's sort of how we met.
It's, to me, when you listen to the music and you talk about bluegrass, of course it's bluegrass, but there's this freshness to it, and at the same time, like when I say, like, to me, the album is like the American landscape, so there's a little bit of roots music in there too, and at the same time, like, there's some rock. I hear a little bit of rock. I hear a little bit of blues. I hear even some of the Black Crowes. It's almost like if you guys could be on stage with the band, the band, and the Black Crowes, and throw in some Willie Nelson and the Highwaymen, you could have your own, like, big festival together, because I think, like, you've got a little bit of them in this music too. Like, you're carrying that torch of Americana, but in a really cool it's a cool stew, musically.
That's a great way to put it, and exactly what I'd say we're all going for. So I'm glad that
awesome.
This album kind of reflects that how we hoped. And yeah, I would say the band is a huge influence collectively on us. We all have a lot of different. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, Pamlico, that song, to me, I would have loved to have taken that song and included it on there. There's one of my favorite all-time albums from the band is Jubilation, and you just don't hear about that album that much. But I'd love to put that song on there, like to close the album off, because it's a little heavier than that album. But I just feel like that, and I almost feel like the Black Crowes in there too, for some reason with that song. But that song in particular, to me, is the band. But it's you guys, and it's not the band. And you guys are rocking it. I love it. That's one of my favorite songs on the album, is that one. But I think it would be so neat. They should have that as a bonus track on the Jubilation.
I think you're spot on with your song order there. There's something about that tune. Well, it's really got the band vibe and kind of that like closing epic deep groove. The sound of it would be great for closing out an album for sure.
Yeah. You close with Down Low, which we'll close our segment with you on, because that it was really interesting, the whole order of the album, going with New Freedom Blues, and that's like, I think we all have that that vibe of, oh yay, and then oh no, oh yay, oh no, oh yay, we want this, no we don't, yes exactly. We do, no we,
Yep.
And then at the end, the whole order, how it flows, is really cool, because it goes into, like, we were saying, even like Life and Death. It gives you, and then like Lazy River. You need Lazy River after Life and Death, You need to get that red dirt on your feet. You need to get into that. But then the last song, Down Low, man, that's like, boom, that's it, man. And that gets bluesy, too. Jack White could hang out on that with you guys.
Yeah, I'm loving all these references. That's inspiring to hear that you're having those associations. And Tyler Childers, are you familiar with him?
No.
So are you familiar with Sturgill Simpson?
That name sounds really, really familiar to me.
So Sturgill Simpson is, and Tyler Childers, I would say, is sort of Sturgill. Well, let me start with Sturgill. He is sort of this revival of. I'm sorry about this noise. Bear with me one moment. But he's a revival of the old style classic country. Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, but done in a fresh way with original songwriting. Got kind of an outlaw element to it, and he's from Kentucky, and he's really defined this new, really tasteful kind of answer to the whole pop country thing. That's amazing. And then he recently produced Tyler Childers' album, and Tyler is in that same vein as a really the next big up and coming. He's already doing really well, but that whole idea, like tasteful outlaw country from Kentucky, and so we were honored to have him on the album, on that song Down Low. And he co-wrote that with Jesse, and he wrote that tune together.
I dig that, because that's what I was saying, there's this freshness to it, yet you have those old school roots. And you guys have, there's no band in the world like you. I know I make these associations, but it's just so people understand and have an idea. you guys have your own sound, and to me, it's a very exciting sound because it's taking something very traditional and mixing the traditions, which is America, right? We have these different traditions, what Americana is. But Americana is allowed to progress, you know, and I think that you create a wider audience if you take something and let it grow. You know, it needs that freedom. You can't keep fencing it in, you know, and boxing it up and saying you could only do it this way. I think that's a very exciting thing about the album, is that you're letting it breathe and grow.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I do think that that's a really interesting point, and a point that is constantly on my mind is finding the balance between taking a lot of different styles and making your own thing, which I am all about, with the caveat of I deeply value and appreciate all the individual styles that I'm pulling from, and for me, and I think everyone in the band, it's really important to, if we're going to skim the surface of different styles and pick and choose elements, it's important almost primarily out of respect to have as good, as thorough an understanding as we can of the individual styles we're pulling from,
mm-hmm.
if that makes
mm-hmm.
sense.
Yeah, because you got their tradition. You have to have that balance so you don't go over the edge where now it's not recognizable roots. You need to still keep your roots, you know. It's the same thing with your hair. We have to go and keep our hair done. You can't just let your roots show too much. But you got to have
exactly.
You have to have that balance, you know.
I think it's like a really good road trip.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might be comfortable because you've been on that road before, but every time you travel it, there's something new. That's how I look at it. So that's really good road trip music for me.
I like that. Yeah, different seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you're playing. And we were watching you guys last night. We were watching all your YouTube videos and watching how tight you are as a band and the dynamics. Oh my God, the dynamics are so incredible. And you take us like some of the music, you feel like you're on the lazy river. You know, there's this natural element about how we breathe and how we feel and think. And I think when music really gets into that mode, that human heartbeat, that we've got something. So you're telling a story, but your dynamics really are probably one of the biggest components of why you're successful and why your sound is so good is the dynamics. Because it's like I said, there's a breathability about the album. I don't think I've ever said that about an album before, like something that's living and breathing. And I think that's part of your dynamics and your tightness as a band. You guys are really tight. I mean, really amazing to watch and to listen to. So I think that's a big part of it. How much do you practice? Like, do you play all day, all the time?
So lately, you mean me individually or collectively as a band?
Both.
So collectively as a band, because they try to get together in Asheville roughly once a week to rehearse, and that's one of the tough things about me living in a different city is I don't get to have those rehearsals with them as often as I would like, but we try to fit that in on the road. And then me personally, right now, I am so busy trying to do all the stuff behind the scenes of, I actually put out my first solo album and am touring, playing solo shows on that, as well as touring full-time with Town Mountain. So
wow.
I have not had as much time as I would like to actually sit down with my instrument a couple months. But in an ideal scenario, my goal is to practice for roughly an hour every day, learning something new, keeping it fresh.
Yeah, because you've got the songs that you have and what you're writing, and then there's just do something for an hour for something, to go find and explore, right? So tell us about how you got into playing fiddle, because you really go into all kinds of styles when you play. Did you listen to bluegrass? Was it classical? What was your first inspiration? To say, hey, I want to play.
So originally, I had no choice in the matter. Before I was born, my mother would play Mozart, but because she wanted me to be a musician. And then when I was about 5 years old, my grandmother and my mother were like, here's a violin, you're gonna take lessons, and that was all fine and well. I took Suzuki classical, but around age 10 or 11, my rebellious side was starting to come out, and I wasn't so into the structure of reading music and classical music. Growing up in North Carolina, there's the rich tradition of bluegrass and roots music and folk in the area I grew up in, and I started to get exposed to that side of things, and that's when the violin and the fiddle became more of a personal interest. Yeah.
It's interesting how it develops over the years, huh? You go through stages.
Really
I think every musician goes through a rebellious stage, and even if it's not other music, it's sports or something.
I think it's interesting what parents do. I know my parents, I wanted to play the piano, so they gave me a violin, and my sister wanted to play a violin, so they gave her the piano. That was funny, but we swapped later on.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Let's play. I want to play Tar Heel. Tell everybody about this, because this is the instrumental on the album.
Yeah. So this is an instrumental I wrote, and it's just a fast, lively kind of bluegrass / old time vibe, and it's titled Tar Heel, but heel is spelled Heal, and that was sort of an ode to a number of different things. I won't go into too much, but kind of wanted it to be this metaphorical healing of some old patterns in my life and old patterns that I grew up around. Tar Heel is a Civil War term, and it's just kind of wanting us to heal from all the traumatic stuff that has had in the history of where I grew up.
You got to have healing music. That's what we have. That's the thing. I think that's so important. They show all these studies scientifically how music heals. And I don't think, music and love are the two things you can't do without, And that means we have to have birds, because they teach us music and everything, but, the natural world. But I think that's part of that breathing part. And because you breathe in and out, and you got to breathe out. And that just has that. I like that, the placement of it in the album, too. It's kind of like lets you have that back and forth in there, and you have to go back and forth to be able to just breathe at the end and exhale. You have to skip around. Yeah, this is good. Well, let's play it. Everybody, here it is, Tar Heel again. The album comes out October 5th, and it's called New Freedom Blues. Blend Radio, and you just heard Tar Heel from the album New Freedom Blues, out by Town Mountain, and it comes out October 5th. And go to townmountain.net. And we're thrilled to have fiddler-bobby-britt here with us today, who wrote the song. And Bobby, I feel like we should, go hiking in the Appalachian, on the trail. Let's do the AT Trail with that,
Yes,
Celtic
totally.
too. Yeah, I love that. Just get out there. I just feel like, or we should be at a dance.
I was just going to say, let's party.
I know. She you got to keep tapping your feet with that. So you
And
guys
that's the idea,
toured with
for
Ralph
sure.
Stanley. Go ahead.
I don't think we've ever done a tour with Ralph Stanley, but we've definitely played a couple of shows with him, which was a huge honor. One in Chicago, at the City Winery in Chicago, I think last year, and that was amazing.
And the Del McCurry Band too. You've played with some greats here. The Yonder Mountain String Band, and so do you have specific bands you get excited about as a fiddle player that you like? I want to play with so and so.
A whole bunch, and there's all these different scenes and sub-genres of roots music and indie rock music, and we sort of are involved loosely in a lot of different ones. So you've got the more jam band scene, like Yonder Mountain. I love them. And like I said earlier, it's a kind of a small community, and we all know each other, which is great. Yonder Mountain, Leftover Salmon, the infamous String Dusters, all these people we know and love, and it's always inspiring to play with all those groups. And then on the other end of the spectrum, stuff that really inspires me is there's a group called His Golden Messenger, based out of Durham, North Carolina, that I really like, and Phil Cook, who is also a part of that scene, and there's a band called Sylvan Esso that I love. It's not really bluegrass, but it's actually like a pretty heavy element of electronic music, but balanced out by this beautiful organic vocalist who is rooted in mountain Appalachian music, as well as some new stuff. So I'm inspired by a lot of different stuff. Celtic music, as you mentioned, I love. So yeah. Foghorn String Band is a collective. Everyone in the group in Town Mountain loves Foghorn, and their mandolin player, Caleb Clowder, produced New Freedom Blues.
Oh, I see. Wow. You guys are getting all together on this. It is like one big, family, Americana family. It's like the roots music scene, and I love it. Yeah. Yeah. And so you're traveling all over. You're even coming out west, everyone in Colorado. You've got Virginia, you've got Michigan. So you're going Midwest, Louisville, Kentucky. We're going to Kentucky this year, too. We're going to go to Bourbon Country. We're going to be going there. But yeah, you're going all over the place, and all the way like November 10th, you have Virginia. And you travel quite a bit. Is there somewhere that you have not played as a destination? Is there a place, or a venue, I should say, that you have not played yet that you want to go and play in?
In America or globally?
Anywhere in the world.
Globally, absolutely. A lot of places. We would all love to go, and I would love.
Cool.
Japan would be awesome. There's a great festival in La Roche, France, that I've played before with different groups. Hoping to get Town Mountain there at some point. And then in terms of in the U.S., not a whole lot of places we haven't played that I'd love to get back to Telluride Bluegrass Festival. That's a big one. Bonnaroo is
Beautiful.
one I think we'd love to play. And I'd love to play in California more. We don't get to play there that often.
Cool.
And Hawaii would obviously be pretty cool.
Hey, I'm all like, I would love to see you guys. There's a musician that comes on our show about every year, Makana. He's one of the top 10 slack key guitarists, and he did a song called Flamenco. So he kind of made a slack. He like mixed bluegrass and slack key guitar playing together in a way, but it was kind of country. It's a stew. It's cool, So it would be really neat to see you guys play with some of the traditional Hawaiian players out there to see how the sound comes, because there's that crossover that happens between country music and Hawaiian music, and it's interesting to me because it's got the beach in the middle of the whole thing. The rhythm of the waves.
I didn't even think about the musical aspect of that. That's a wonderful idea. That I think that Hawaiian sound would fit in nicely with. I can hear a Hawaiian resonator guitar on New Freedom Blues almost, like just that lazy kind of beautiful, rich sound of the slide. But yeah.
Man,
cool.
I know this is exciting. I'm excited for you guys. I love this album. I'm so glad I got to hear it. Nancy, we got a toe tap.
I know.
We're going to take this on the road with us.
It's going on the road.
It's going on the road. We have a thing about. That's how you know what's good music is if you take it on the road.
Yeah.
So when you look at the whole album, is there a stretch of this country that you would say, okay, this is where I'm going to play this album, New Freedom Blues?
You mean, is there a place where I would put it on to listen to, or?
Yeah. As you're on the road traveling, where if you're going to say, okay, I'm going to hold on to this and I'm going to play it at this certain route or this highway or
like Route 66.
Yeah, are you going to take Route 66? Are you going to go up the coast? Where are you going to play it?
Well, I would say I would. It's so broad and such a melting pot, it can be played anywhere. But for some reason, the place that instinctively came to my mind was like starting a road trip out of Nashville, Tennessee, and heading west. For some reason, was where my mind instantly went to.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
cool.
That works.
I'm going to play it on the Natchez Trace when we go up from Mississippi. Of course, we have to play the blues. Got to do that too. But there's something like I want to play. I don't know what it is, but I want to take it through Louisiana too. It's interesting.
That works.
It works in Louisiana, but up the Natchez Trace, I've never done that. There's some. Yeah. Oh man, it's so exciting. They have a festival out there every year. That's Roots Festival, Folk Roots Festival, out of Natchitoches, which is the oldest city in Louisiana, and it'd be cool to see you guys play there because they do bring in country. They bring in everything. Yeah.
There's definitely a Louisiana big element of that in our outlook and our musicality. Our last album we recorded down in Lafayette with one of our heroes, Dirk Powell, and he's an amazing old-time and Cajun musician. So that's a big influence on us for sure.
Especially South Louisiana. When you said Lafayette, I was thinking that
gumbo,
swamp pop, good old swamp pop. There's something about that. It's just you want to be outside. I don't know. It's music that wants you to go outside on a porch,
hang with the gators.
Porch music. Is there such a thing as porch music? There should be. I want that as a genre.
I think
porch music.
There is now, as of right now.
That's it, everybody. Get on it. Get into your porch swing. That's it. You swing on the porch, and then if it gets too fast, you got to get up. And I love the stand-up bass, too. Oh, man, that's it. We need more of that in the world, more stand-up bass. That's a key thing, key element. Yeah. Wow, Bobby, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a true pleasure, and just so excited about the album. Everyone, again, go to townmountain.net, and the album is New Freedom Blues, out October 5th. Connect with them now. Follow their tour. Go see them live on the porch near you. Play it on your porch. Play it in the car. Take it on the road. But we've got to give a shout-out and thank you to our show sponsor for today, Spontaneous, the song game. It's the award-winning and best-selling board game. And shout-out and congrats to Rob Ridgway, the creator of the game. He's been doing some sponsorships over at in Nashville at the Grand Ole Opry.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's been doing some good stuff over there. You know about that place, don't you, Bobby? You've played there.
I do, yes. Yeah, actually, not personally, but the band has been playing there a lot recently.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, and we'll probably be back there soon, which will be my debut. I wasn't able to make it down for the past couple, but yeah, it's a great place.
Awesome. Everybody, go to songgame.com. But here it is. We're going to play Down Low, the closing song on the album. Thanks again for joining us, Bobby. It's been a real pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Stop and step aside so I can move along. Is it just because they're friendly or the fact that I am gone? Stepping over lines of the path they travel on. Living on the high side, better keep it on the low down. Get the feeling just right. Think I'll have to go and